My name is Abby Gooch, and I'm so glad to be here. And, every day is special, but I always get so excited for Monday mornings when we do this show because I get to bring my friends online and just other amazing colleagues who are in this industry and field. And this woman that I'm about to introduce you to, she is somebody that welcomed me when I first moved to Encinitas. And I still remember the day. We were at this place called Lotus Cafe, and there was just that intuitive vibe, where it just feels right. You're in your hearts, you're having fun. And I turned to her and she's just like, I'll buy your lemonade. And I was like, okay, you're my type of people. You're like abundant and loving and just so much fun. So I just immediately felt welcome. So of course, it's that full circle as like you give, you receive, it comes back around. And so I kept bumping into her on the beach and I'm like, hey lady, let's get you on the show. So this woman is obviously an amazing person just because she is who she is. She's also an author. And she's a vegan. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And also the theme of just universal oneness. So raising our frequency within us. And then as we do that around us, we do the same thing, right? It's like this ripple effect. So Kathleen, if you want to introduce yourself formally, go ahead and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Abby. That was such a fun story. I forgot about the lemonade. I remember when I saw Abby, it was like, I had known her before and we were trying to figure out, where. There wasn't anywhere. That was our first meeting and then both walked Swami's Beach. So it was really exciting. And she's newer to living in Encinitas and I've only been here 6 years via Kansas City. So it's just fun to meet like-minded people who are interested in changing the world, no small feat, and bringing unity with people, animals, Mother Earth, and that's my big vegan platform. I've been vegan for 19 years, and I love sharing it with everyone. I have a YouTube cooking channel that I started with my husband about 5 years ago, and the main reason we started it was when I met Wade, my husband, 13 years ago. He was already vegan. His diet because he'd had cancer and he used to be a police officer and had a very different life before I met him. When I met him, he was vegan and a yoga teacher, and I'm a teacher. So we had a vegan wedding in Santa Monica, and I'm from Kansas and he's from Wisconsin. So all our Midwestern relatives are here, and we had amazing vegetarian lasagna and this gorgeous buttercream cake with pineapple and coconut, and everybody was like, what? And people wanted the cookbook from the restaurant. So that was really exciting. So we just decided, people don't know what we eat. We think everyone knows what to eat because we've been vegan for so long, but we just started because we wanted to show people how to make delicious, most of the time simple. Some recipes, of course, are more elaborate, but that was our whole impetus, is just show people how to make great food. It didn't even have to have a label. This is just great food using plants, and no animals or fish need to suffer.
Wow, I love that. So can you chat a little bit about the universal oneness? So how you feel like your consciousness and raising your frequency, your energetic frequency, has then caused you to make different choices, take different actions that better our planet. I would love to hear your awakening of that and how you do that and your practice of it.
Yes, absolutely. So I wasn't like this my whole life. I was wild when I was young. I've written it in my books. I partied when I was young. I unfortunately ate animals and animal products. I drank, I smoked. Long story, when I moved to San Diego for the first time, it's my second time, in 1993, I just gotten out of grad school for exercise physiology. I actually found my job in the yellow pages. That's me. I found this job with Charlotte here at a center for sports medicine. So I had to open this center every day at 5 a.m. And I just got out of college. So fortunately, I was still drinking and going out. But a total miracle happened at my 5 a.m. job that I got in Yellow Pages is that one morning, very early, Dr. Cooper came into the center. He had the center for medicine upstairs, and I was at the my center below him for sports medicine. So he wanted a personal trainer. Who he was, because again, 1993, and was eking. Do you know who he is? And I did, which was probably a good. He was great, and long story, he introduced me to him, and I would go to hear him talk to consciousness. I ended up helping him put a gym in his home and training him and his wife. So I really got to know the style. And even though he and I both weren't doing yoga, he's a great yogi now. He looks amazing. His staff introduced me to my first sun salutation, which led me to my first class with one of his employees. And I like the most profound experience. I was terrible. I was terrible at it because I was a fitness person. I only knew cardio and weights, and I thought I was just going into stretch. And I was just trembling in triangle because my body was so imbalanced, strong here, weak here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we go into Shavasana, and I just had the most profound, it was an awakening. And I remember just having silent tears pouring down my face. And I went up to the teacher afterwards, and I'm like, Laura, what's going on here? I came to stretch, I'm leaving crying, but not crying in a bad way, like I'm scared, like crying like this is really profound and I'm coming back a lot. So she just kind of smiled. And I do feel like that was probably the first time my mind went in a waking state, which is what meditation is about, if that makes sense. I was awake, but my mind had finally shut off the chatter from the poses and the breathing, Shavasana, the relaxation. So I felt like that was real awakening, like God was like, let's move you forward and, stop the drinking. And it did. The more I did yoga, there's this saying in yoga, your bad habits lose. Exactly what happened to me. It didn't happen to me the first week or the first month, but I definitely stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. I stopped eating animals. Caffeine, which I never thought I'd live to say. Again, it didn't happen all together, but, I could tell, I love God, and yoga is all about, union with God, the divine. So I could just tell that God didn't want me to do these things anymore with you. And it became bigger than me. And it wasn't like, oh, really? I'm going to hang on to that. It was like one day bad. Mm-hmm. Or, one day just something just went shoom, and I didn't want to do those things anymore. And it was rather miraculous. So that's really how I started. And then, of course, I loved animals. Who doesn't love animals? I had pets my whole life, but see that my cat and dog are also a cow, a pig, a chicken, a crab, a fish, a lobster. Like, if it wasn't yoga, I don't know if I would have ever really that. Mm-hmm. I hope I would have in time, documentaries and more animal rights educating us, but unfortunately I call it innocently unaware. I wasn't trying to be a mean person. No, I just didn't get it. Of course they suffer, so I try to be compassionate. When I'm educating people, I'll do a lot of plant-based education and towards health, because most of the time it has to be about the person. Mm-hmm. For them to care, unfortunately. But usually if they start with themselves, with their health, then they start the treatment of farm animals and fish through the documentaries. And then there is a shift in consciousness and start seeing the divine in all living beings, which is what Namaste means. Mm-hmm. I honor the divine in you that's in me. So we see that, all these creations are from the divine. Mm-hmm. And that we abundantly, really, when you take out meat, dairy, eggs, fish, 4 things, just 4 things. People are like, what do you eat? I'm like, the other thousands of food sources of colorful plants and beans. And of course, people have food sensitivities and you have to modify accordingly. But there is just literally, it's like returning to the Garden of Eden. There's just an abundance of food that is grown from the earth that we can thrive. And, a lot of the animal products, can contribute to heart disease and diabetes. And my dad died of type 2 diabetes. He was a huge animal eater. And unfortunately, died at 67 and didn't wake up on Easter morning. So I've lived it with my own family. You know, it can contribute to cancer, obesity. There's just so many things that animal products. For me, I had a lot of asthma, allergies, and I had really bad skin. I had acne. I was on inhalers, Flonase. Nobody ever asked me what I was eating. And it was, for me, it was the, so I just like to tell people that if you are having any of those health issues, that just to eliminate animals and all animal products for 30 days and just see what happens, because it really can happen fast. You know, getting off, you know, maybe reducing the meds, getting meds. My skin cleared up almost like within a week. And I just never knew that the hormones in the dairy, the mucus in the dairy, that, you know, our skin is the largest organ, that all that was just being detoxified and purged through my face. I know.
What I'm getting from what you're saying is, as you do something in life to raise your frequency, naturally other things start dropping. So for you, you started doing yoga, and that unified you with God in a deeper way. And then slowly these other things started changing, right? So that was the catalyst where you chose to stop eating meat and dairy. So, you know how I told you, like, Kathleen, I can't tell you anything until we get on the show live, because I just couldn't wait to like let everybody know at the same time. So the last like week and a half, I forgot you were going to be on this show, because I have people, you know, booked on the calendar, but I don't think, okay, like who's next until like the week or the day before. So I forgot it was you, which is this amazing vegan, right? So again, for the last week and a half, my body is just like not eating any meat, like refuse it. Like the thought of it, it's like, and I am so transparent, right? So I've been the opposite of that. I've been like, I have to eat meat, like I need meat, like really like strong, you know, that like I need that. So it has been so fascinating to watch as I've been doing things to raise my frequency, that like it's changing. And it was like, so I'm one of those people, you can't tell me what to do, but when it starts to just change naturally, I'm just fascinated by it. So the fact that I didn't even consciously know you were going to be on the show, my body just started doing this. I'm like, isn't that interesting? And like my parents in Idaho, since my dad got back from the trip to Ecuador with me to see the kids at the orphanage, he like started like being vegan, and like they're like cooking. My mom's like, oh yeah, now I'm gonna like vegan mayonnaise. And it's like they don't even like, they're just doing it just like me, right? Like they're not even thinking about it. So I just think it's fascinating that how energy shifts. And so part of the message is like, listen to your body. So like, I'm really in this place to the best that I can of non-judgment, right? So it's like, you know, there's stuff going on with the coronavirus and the vaccines and all these different things, right? So I'm like, okay, the biggest stand I can take is for love, right? And if you listen to your body, I believe that's giving you the strongest message. So I think everybody, for you to listen to your body and your intuition, and we can go into that a little bit deeper about how to do that. But it's like, again, I just find it fascinating that I'm just shifting without my conscious awareness. And so it's just fascinating. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, but it's just like kind of exciting to share, because
yeah, it's a lot more fun when it happens your way, because you don't feel deprived. You don't feel like you're like, oh my God, I can't live without cheese. Like it just organically happens, and that's where the magic shift happens. I think there's a divine awakening that's maybe even, you know, predetermined, that we all to this message. So one thing with COVID that I think is really important is, you know, I see people getting the vaccine, and then I also see a line down the street at In-N-Out Burger, like cars literally around the block. So I just want people to also, you know, really do everything they can with their food choices, because food is medicine. I'm not sure if you're still here, Abby. I'm gonna just keep talking. So yeah, so using food as medicine also, to do everything you can. You know, every bite you eat is either helping your health or it's hindering your health. And there's really nothing but fruits and vegetables and all their colors is just one of the most amazing things you can do for your immune system. And keeping off dairy, because of the inflammation in the lungs, since COVID does hinder the lung ability, that we want to keep our lungs free of phlegm and inflammation. And so I just encourage everybody to at least eat as many plants as possible. Abby, I'm going to keep talking because I can talk about plant-based nutrition all day. I'll just share a couple of things. I did write a book. It's been about 5 years, but I wrote this book called Yoga's Path to Weight Loss, and I share my journey. It's on Amazon or my website. I've been about 30 pounds heavier, and yoga was something that helped me lose weight way more than when I was a gym person. And I was a yoga studio owner for 16 years in Kansas City, and I saw so many people lose weight without ever trying weight. It's the same thing like Abby and I are talking about. They just really loved yoga and kept showing up. And the more they did yoga, their consciousness changed, their food choices changed. So I was like, wow, this is, there is something to this theory. So I wrote a book about my own experience and the experience of some of my other clients and students, and using yoga and meditation, because I've learned through the years when I worked in traditional weight loss that I talk to people all day about healthy and the importance of exercise, and some will take it and run, but most of them struggle and relapse over again. I worked at the Pritikin Longevity Center and when I was younger, and watched that. People kept coming back. And then with yoga, people were just showing up, doing this, and there was just that profound shift in their consciousness, where I told me once that she made it all the way home, her 30-minute drive, and she just forgot to smoke her cigarette that she would normally always do. So, and then the food choices changing, just not wanting to eat something like Abby said that they had maybe always loved and enjoyed. I remember one girl was cleaning things she'd never wanted to clean before. So it just brings this order in mind and into your life, and everything benefits. I also talk about the power of walking in nature, because I think nature is the best antidepressant there is. And get outside, get some fresh air, leave the phone at home, get away from the computer, get away from the TV, and walking in nature. And the power of affirmations, because our word is our wand. As Florence Scovel Shinn said, your word is your wand or your sword. And the Bible says you're either creating or destroying with the power of your tongue. And it sounds so simple, but we all need to be gatekeepers of our words, and that our words are creating our reality. So I talk about the power of affirmations, and then I do talk about plant-based education and the impact it has on lowering our cholesterol, because all plant-based foods have cholesterol, 0. So if you want to lower your cholesterol, eat more plants and meat, dairy, eggs, and fish, and especially shellfish, crab, lobster, shrimp have a ton of cholesterol, and there's a lot of bacteria. And I encourage everybody to watch Seaspiracy and learn more about the ocean and what's happening to the fish, because sometimes people just think fish are like ants and they just disregard that they have families and they feel pain and suffering, and so they're sentient feeling beings. A shirt today that says ahimsa in Sanskrit, that means non-harming. We all do the best we can to create as little harm to others as possible. And there's this fine line. What Abby said was great. She tries not to judge, and same thing. I try not to judge too, but then there's a fine line for me about being a voice for the voiceless, because of, what about them? What about them that are having their lives taken? The cows, the dairy industry taking the babies away from the moms and then impregnating the mom. 9 months, she carries her baby, has her baby taken away again, and never gets to bond because we take her milk, and then the baby either becomes a dairy cow or a veal calf and gets killed around the age of 1. So the animals do suffer. The pigs are in gestation crates, laying on their side, their whole literally deplorable life, can't move around, can't turn, cranking out babies for bacon and ham and all the things that we were all raised with. And now we know that we don't need them, and the animals don't need to suffer, the fish don't need to suffer. So there's so many awesome documentaries that are really informative and are game changers, including the one called The Game Changers, that I highly also recommend, from James Cameron, who made the Titanic, about these incredible vegan athletes who are powered by plants. You know, people say, where do you get your protein? And they get it the same places elephants and gorillas and the world's largest animals get their protein, from plants. And let's see, Game Changers is amazing. Seaspiracy, Cowspiracy, Forks Over Knives, which has probably changed more people's lives than any documentary. Health, and they do an amazing job. Their website has so many amazing recipes that are also oil-free, because they have a lot of people with severe health problems who have obesity, high blood pressure, cholesterol. And so they've done a phenomenal job of people losing like hundreds of pounds, and also adopting a plant-based diet and incorporating exercise. Because as an exercise physiologist, I still have to promote exercise, even though the food is really more of a thing. But because when I was a personal trainer, and I would exercise all day and eat the house down, so finding that balance, you know, exercising and really paying attention to the food, because you don't have to beat yourself up with exercise. You don't have to run 6 miles a day, and I talk about that in my book. To keep your weight, you want it. You know, the food is everything. Really focus on the food. You can just exercise moderately. So Abby, I don't know if you're coming back. I'm just going to keep talking. I'll just go ahead and share my other book that I wrote, 10 years ago. This is called The Cheerleader Speaks, kind of a satire on myself. It taught me about men and myself. That is my husband, Wade, in the drawing. So I did not get married till I was 39. I'm 52 now. And so this is a dating memoir of all my disasters from 3rd grade till I met Wade. And the main reason I did write it is to help women meet their partner sooner than later, because I talk about my disasters and the things that helped me to finally meet my husband. And that's something I love talking with women about, and men, because if you tend to date the same type over and over and over, it's like Einstein's definition of insanity, and you expect to get a different result. I did, and it wasn't happening. I tend to date artists and musicians who were all good souls. They just weren't good for me. And so finally, a very wise friend told me, again, I was like 38 now, really wanting to be married. And she said, did you ever think about praying for the guy God picked for you? And I thought, wow. And I'd always prayed. I had prayed where to live, where to work, everything, but I had never really surrendered the subject of my love life. So I did, and I prayed a lot, and I met my husband in a yoga class in Santa Monica about a month later. So I just like to give that advice to people, men and women, that if you have a type, like I did, and that type isn't working out for you, is to really, you have your list, of course, but to also completely let go of your list. I read this book once that said, it was a chakra energy book. It said, write down your list for your life partner and then go burn it over the sink. And I thought that was about the best advice anyone had given me also. So I did burn my list, prayed for the man, the husband that God had willed for me, and met my husband, Wade. And we've been married 13 years, and it's not always easy, but he definitely was the right divine match for me. And he was a yoga teacher, and I was a yoga teacher, and just a miracle that he was vegan and shared that passion with me, and was an amazing cook. And he had 2 children, and I've gotten to be a step parent, and we chose to not have any, but I get to still be a step parent. And we have 3 cats. I had 3 cats when I met him, and 3 have passed, and now we have 3 new cats. So it's just been great, and I'm so grateful. I asked God to pick my husband for me. So we've had a pretty incredible life together. We worked together in Kansas City, he helped me with my yoga studio the last 7 years, and we had an amazing, blessed experience there, and we did sell it and move here 6 years ago, and it's called Maya Yoga. If you're ever in Kansas, amazing teachers, and my friend owns it, Samantha Collinson, and wonderful students. I miss them dearly, and really, like, the best thing I ever got to be a part of was starting Maya Yoga. And let's see what else about me. I'd love to hear more about you all and Abby. But so you can find me on my website, KathleenKastner.com. I do vegan coaching. If you're interested, I have tons of free content on my YouTube channel, Kathleen Kastner Vegan Vitality. We have about 100 recipes. Wade does a few of them. Most of the time, he's my man. And we are teaching a retreat in Costa Rica, in Nassau, Costa Rica, March 5th through the 12th of 2022. It's yoga and meditation and surfing. My husband teaches surfing, which is optional, but it's at the Bodhi Tree Yoga Resort, which is this amazing property. It's a really nice 5-star resort. It's got yoga shalas outside, inside, swimming pools, a beautiful dining area. It's not all vegan, but there's vegan and veggie options. 7 days, 3 meals a day, all your yoga, meditation, surfing classes, and it's on my website. We have a few spots left, single and double rooms, and this is our 3rd time to return to the Bodhi Tree. I've been doing yoga retreats, leading and teaching for, gosh, 15 years now, and it's been my favorite venue of all. So I'd love you to join us in Costa Rica. There's howler monkeys, there's an animal refuge to visit, there's beautiful beaches to walk in Nassau, and it's just an incredible experience. There's a spa on the property, and so what we do in the morning is we meditate and do yoga. That's about the first 2 hours, 7 to 9, and then you have your day free to do whatever you want. Go on excursions, hang out at the pool, walk the beach, get a massage, and then we have dinner together at night, and then we meditate again before bed. So it's a lot of fun, and we would love you to join us. And I don't know if Abby's coming back, so I'm just gonna sign off, and thank you everyone for listening to my story. If I can ever help you in any way with yoga, meditation, veganism, let me know. You can shoot me an email, and I thank you for saving animals with your food choices in any way that you can, and continuing to lift your vibration and honoring the divine in yourself and in all living beings. Thank you so much. Namaste.